I've been thinking about this green revolution thing in Iran, and I'm really tore up about it because it's like, on the one hand, I kind of want, I want the terrorist regime, the president, well, not conservative, but yeah, the Islamic radicals, the fundamentalists to be overthrown. Sure, but at the same time, even though I want freedom, it, it looks like a hippie fest. And what that means is that it's so progressive that if they do modernize, before they fall into the decadence of the West, sure, they'll fall into it like Russia did when it changed over. There'll be some core chic, hard trendy falls into the West, just like when the 60s flopped into the friggin' age of love, and all the friggin' social dynamic fell apart, and now look where we are, right? Well, the point is that even though freedom has its good things, the bad thing is that society strives on order as much as it does freedom. And when they're going to get their freedom, what's going to happen is that they're going to still have a lot of that order. And yet, that order is going to be freed up from its more repressive, I don't know, it's repression, it's more repressive regimes. And what's going to happen is that's going to bring them a lot of economic bonus. And when that happens, that's the worst thing in the world that's going to happen. And let me tell you why. Because for us here in the West, that means culture and society and the hub of Western, or not Western, but mechanized modern society is going to move closer to the oil. And we're going to be further away. We're already declining. We're in a damn recession, if not a minor depression. And, we're only floating on friggin' our diminishing dollar on, on printed money. You know what I mean? So, it's bad. It's real bad. If we weren't the military might we were, we would be in a fix. And we are in a fix because we're like a dinosaur. And the other dinosaurs have fallen away because the little mammals just come in and eat all the eggs. And it's bad. I saw movies like this in the 80s. They talked about, the 90s, 2000, 2010. It's going to be a wasteland. Well, I don't know. Look at the world. Look at America. We got homeless camps. We've almost got food lines. Except there's no one giving out food anymore. It's getting pretty close to what it was. And the worst part of it is that the rich in America will just go into more sheltered areas. Haven't we seen that in a bunch of science fiction movies? The rich just go into these little communes, and the freaking other things fall off in services and infrastructure, and it just becomes an urban wasteland. Like Detroit. I saw a video recently, Steve Crowder, and Crowder? Yeah, okay. And it was just a wasteland of what was once an industry based on the car industry. Gone. It Japan and India and maybe parts of China and the Middle East actually conglomerate and, and shorten those lines of resource, we're out in the fringes, people. And Venezuela's, for some reason, I don't quite get, it's cheaper to ship oil on over the ocean than it is to go up and down the hemisphere because of land obstacles or something. Even if you go up the coast or not, I guess it's something to do with weather and longitude and latitude, and I don't know. But for some practical reason, it's less cost effective to ship oil from down south than it is to go east into the Middle East. And if that flow stops happening, that means our society goes away. And we become part of the wasteland, the Mad Max scenario. This is crap. So I don't know. Because if there's the crazy Islamophobes, or not Islamophobes, Islamics, the Islamo radicals, then friggin' they'll keep it friggin' tied down. Because they're repressive, they're dinosaurs too. Good. I don't know who to root for. It's equally bad. Why couldn't we just bomb Iran like we were supposed to? McCain had to friggin' pick Palin. We could have been bombing Iran. Everything could have been happy. I want people to be happy and have democracy and live and not suffer friggin' multi-kiloton or megatonnage or whatever explosions. Yes, I know it's not a kiloton. It was some of the bigger bombs are non-nuclear, but yada. A daisy cluster, a daisy chain dropped on your head ain't gonna be no fun, And it's just, bombs don't discriminate either. There's some nasty things about collateral damage they don't talk about. Like how some people in a certain periphery of the battle zone will get a wave collapse where for a few minutes a large portion will have their ears and eyes just gone, and 2 or 3 minutes of blind, deaf agony of, a tortured descent into darkness and pain and death, there's nothing freaking noble about a bomb. I'm sorry, I'd like to think so, but there really just isn't, So, it's just fracked all the way around. And you know what I mean by fracked. And I'm not really saying frack, I'm just using that term. But it's fracked up. Our world is collapsing. Our society is collapsing. And all this really means is I want to friggin' have cheap gas, ability to go get a job that's close to the living wages I can get until I get old enough time to get some kind of benefits. And it has benefits there, or programs. Why lie? I just want to live on my little life. Hell with the world. Just as long as it doesn't say the hell with me. I don't care. Shoot them, don't shoot them, bomb them, whatever. Just keep the gravy at home. I'm not sorry. Really. Are you? Really? Working that job, having to drive 4 or 5 hours on the freaking freeway a day? Want that to get worse? Want to be like the 30s? When you stand in the soup line? Big signs saying no work here? Freaking watching your children and family starve and freeze to death? And the old ones just freaking out in the curb? Old one might be you. or welcome to Kansas City. No. America needs to be strong. Something. I don't know what, but I'm sorry, but it's for us and ours. Personally, I hope us and ours means me. Me. Frack the rest of them.